So till yesterday, we have discussed about front-end testing, how to do GUI testing or front-end application testing. That's a functional testing, how to do that. We have seen with Selenium tool. Manually will do, at the same time that manual task you can automate with a front-end tool, that is Selenium, or different tools are there. So we use the Selenium. So that's a automation testing with front end we have done. But what about back end? So you don't have a UI at all. How you can test it? So you can, even without UI, without application means front end. Without front end, you can also test and you can also perform your functional activities. How can we do that? So that can be done with API testing. So that can be done with API testing. How can we do? Let's. So that how to do, but what is API? So to understand this, so we need to understand first application architecture. We should know application architecture. So what is this application architecture? First, you should be very clear on that. So any web application, I already told, there is a front end, middle layer, and back end. So data layer. So these are the different layers will be there, right? These are the different layers will be there. So in that different layers, let's understand what is a, in that also you need to understand what is a client, what is server, what is mean by a server, what is meant by a client. So server is nothing but it is going to connect to the several clients. So basically it will handle the request. So the browser is going to send a request. It goes to server, which is connect to the different request, and the request will be served by the server. So you are requesting something, like you are searching for some keyword in the Google. So it will go to Google server and you will get the response back. So when you are sending one, whatever you are sending is the request. Whatever you are getting is a response. So as a client, you are the client. Client is nothing but a machines, laptops. You are sitting on the in front of your laptop. You are sending the request. That request, every request should go to server. So basically it will connect to the multiple clients will be connected to the server. And every client will send a request to the server. So that is what this server and client means. Client is nothing but your operating system or your laptop. In front of laptop, whoever sits there, that's the one, right? And server only performs the actions, calculations or data, whatever data you want, everything will be calculated here only. Process it and send back to you. So the client provides a user interface that allows users to carry out actions. So that is what a client and server related request, and nowadays it will happen and response you will get back. So that to understand more in detail about any web application architecture, so what is presentation, business, and database layer? So this is the presentation layer, that is it is presenting to you. So basically it is presenting to you. And then the middle layer is the another one where the process will happen. All the application code, everything will happen in this application layer. So you can develop the application layer with Java, .NET, C#, Python, C++. And then we have a data layer. So the data layer is basically a database. So you can develop the databases using MySQL, Oracle, Postgres, and SQL Server, MongoDB. So these are all the data layers. And in any of these, so databases you can use here in the data layer. And this is any application architecture, any web application architecture will be like this. So how basically your now the front end layer will be your Selenium will interact here. All this front end testing is done by Selenium here in this presentation layer. That is called front end layer. But what about this middle layer and data layer? How you can interact? So to interact with this business logic, and we are going to use APIs. So to interact with this business layer, the application layer or business layer, you're using API concept. So API is nothing but application programming interface, so which talks to different systems, different components. So that's what the API. So API is an application programming interface. So it exchanges the data between two different softwares, two different components. And to interact with two different systems and exchange the data. And we are developing some functions or classes. So those functions will go and talk to that another component. Like if you observe your online system, so the payment gateway, how it will happen. So the banking system, they cannot develop. Suppose you take Amazon. When you're going to payment, they cannot develop on all the different banks, right? So what they are doing, so this Amazon, okay, so to which bank you want to send, they'll just send one request through APIs. That API will go and talk to that bank software, and based on the credentials, based on the authentications, based on the authorization, then the process will happen there, and your API will get the data back. The response will get back. Response means what happened there. So in the server, what happened? In the bank software, what happened? So you just say Amazon is a client, you're just using the bank software. Okay, so it is asking, okay, Amazon is asking, okay, deduct this much, okay, $1,000. So it will go to that bank software, and first it will check authentication. So whether this is a valid card number, valid software or not. And if it is a valid only, there is, every software, if you are talking to other component, that component is a so that software will return and authenticate that. So whether this request is a genuine request or not. So based on the details what you are providing. So you'll give an input, right? So based on that details, it will validate. And then you will get back the response. So this is what is happening now. Even so, there is a lot of APIs we have. Google Maps API, Amazon Advertising API, Twitter API, YouTube API. So all these are different examples for APIs. So all these are examples for APIs. Okay, so for example, as I just now I spoke to you, right, about payment on the online system. So you can do through credit card, you can do through debit card, or you can do through net banking. It can be anything. So the process will be changed only. The payment type is different. So basically a payment, and that you are overloading the method with the different mechanisms. So that you are sending and you will get the response back. Okay. So this is the how the API will go and interact with the two different systems. You don't need to develop other system. So if you want to develop and it's not going to work out. So how you can interact with these APIs? The connection is happening through APIs only. If there is no API, it's a very difficult task. Because Amazon also has to develop another bank. And that is not possible at all, right? From the scratch, if you want to build, it's not going to work out. So the advantage of this APIs is you can use existing software in the market, and in your application, you can incorporate directly with one API call. So that's the advantage here. And then what is web service? So API is just even your Selenium also an APIs. All the Selenium web drivers are APIs. It's open source. You don't need to buy also. Some open source are there, some are commercial also there, APIs. So some security based is there, those are commercial, but some of them open source also there. So now example is WebDriver API is a open source. So QTP is a QTP, or now we are calling UFT. That is a commercial. That is commercial. So that is commercial. So there are APIs also, commercial are there, open source is there. So most of these Twitter APIs are open source, and WebDriver APIs are open source. Anybody can go and download and you can use it. So that is what. So what you will do in the Twitter, right? So you can post a tweet. You can comment on that tweet. You can edit that tweet. You can delete that tweet. So all this is what we will do, right? On the Twitter, right? Same in the YouTube also. What you will do, you will upload the video. That means you're posting the video. You can delete the video. You can edit the video. You can get number of videos are there in particular account. So this is all the same action you can do here also. The map also. So you can get the Google Maps API, means you can get particular location map if you want. So how you are sending the location. And based on that's a parameter you are giving, an input you are giving, and this will go and talk and get the map for that input. It is getting the data for you. So like that, you can do a lot of different APIs will be available. Daily you are using them, but you are not aware of that, but daily you are using them. You are creating an account. You are reviewing other accounts. And you can see your details. You can update your details. See, creating, updating, viewing, deleting. So everything you are doing that. So that all these CRUD operations we call them. Create, update, delete, read. Read means view. Read means view. These details, you can do that. So those actions only we can do without application also. Without application means front end, I'm saying front end. Without application, complete application no. So these layers are available, but not front end. Without front end also you can do action. So now that is happening now in the microservices concept is coming up. Once upon a time, monolithic architecture was there. Monolithic architecture is nothing but all these things will be in one container. That's a monolithic. Now what people are doing? So each service is separating microservice. So every service they are separating and independently they are making their workable conditions, workable softwares. Then how they will different service, how they will interact. That is coming with the API. The interaction between one microservice to other microservice, and through API you can do that. So that's what it is happening, and that's why more popularity increasing in the softwares, and also who knows very well about APIs, lot of demand is there. So very simple, very easy task, this API testing, and that you should not say I don't know. This is the easiest one than all other testing types. Simply you have a URL like this. You have a URL and you'll just go and hit the some software tools will be there. There you will hit and whether you're getting the output or not. For that output, there is a number. That is a response code, we call that. That response code, whether you're getting or not, you will see that. That's it. Very, very simple. But still complications are there. We'll see that. But easiest one I can say. Out of all the other types of testings, so Selenium is complicated, very, very complicated. You have to learn one programming language and you have to write the code, so much code you have to write, so much, complexity and tedious task also, but one-time effort, but still you have to do that. So you have to be on top of every day, you have to be keep watching, monitoring your results, whether they are running or not, the Jenkins is failing or passing or not, you have to check. So much thing will be there. And also it takes more time to run your test cases. But the API testing, fraction of seconds you will get the output. Not even so 5 seconds or 2 seconds you will get output. That much faster these APIs. So that's why people are preferring API testing initially. Nowadays, everybody preferring first API testing. So API testing you can do so many ways. There's so many tools are there, and but at least for a manual testing, so we can see that how we can do that. Okay. And what is web service? Are you clear on what is API? At least. Any questions? Any questions or no? We can move forward.
No, Ramesh.
Okay. So let's move on to the next. And so web service. So web service is nothing but machine-to-machine interaction over the network. Network means internet, over the internet. So that is what web service. Then what about APIs? You don't need internet. Even without internet also APIs will work. But web service doesn't work without internet. Okay, that's a difference, main difference between API and web service. So we'll see that all these differences also, okay? So, and also web services, you can communicate with the different types of applications also. You can communicate with the different type of applications also. So a Java-based application can communicate with the other .NET-based application or Python-based applications. That's a web service means. And let's see the difference. Web service, you can use XML or JSON messages over the HTTP protocols. The communication mainly happens between different systems through XML format or JSON format. So what is JSON, I'll tell you, but you know XML, right? How many of you know XML? The same as HTML. HTML is a predefined tags, right? You know, everybody knows HTML, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So XML also similar, but XML is you can create your customized tags. Like we have seen in the Selenium testng.xml, form.xml. These are customized XML files. Here also you can create a XML, basically a tags, but customized tags, not predefined like HTML. HTML is a predefined tags. HTML, head, body, div, input, select, option. These are all predefined tags. You cannot change them. But XML, you can create your own tags. That's the difference between XML and HTML. Okay. So, and these XML files you will use to communicate between two different systems or HTTP protocol. You are using HTTP protocol, and that communication is either you can do with XML format or a JSON format. So what is JSON? So you can ask. I'll introduce JSON, don't worry. And so what is the difference between web service and API? This is a very important interview question. So please read this. So all web services are APIs. And all APIs are not web services. So web service use only three style of use. One is SOAP, REST, and XML RPC for communication between the two different systems. API may use any style of communication. So it can be JSON format, it can be XML format, it can be HTML format, it can be text file format. Any format you can send data for communication. So web services are self-contained and APIs are open source and can be used anywhere. And web services are, so it can be hosted on IaaS, Internet Information Service, it can be hosted. But APIs can be hosted on the within the application or on IaaS also. Both places you can host them, you can deploy them. So web service might not perform all operations that API performs. API can perform all tasks that web services can do. So web service requires a SOAP protocol to receive and send data over the network. And it's not a lightweight architecture. So it is a lightweight architecture and good for devices which have limited bandwidth, like mobile devices. Okay, so it's a lightweight and this is a heavyweight one, the SOAP. So web service needs a network for operations. API doesn't need network for its operations. So that's the main thing. As I mentioned already, API testing can be performed only the business layer. Here, the Selenium test case will execute here, presentation layer. Okay, so that's the difference between API testing and front-end testing. Front-end testing you can do with the Selenium tool. Back-end testing you can do with API. So that's a difference. So what are the advantages of API testing? So API testing provides to the application without user interface. That means this front end you don't need. Without that, you can perform the API testing. So basically what you will do, sir, basically you will perform the code level functionality. You will check whether that code is working or not. You will check. So in the very early, you will test that without even front end part. So basically this will help you to detect the errors in the code and in their functions. You can find out if any issues are there. That's the first point. So API testing usually is less time consuming than functional UI testing. So you don't need much time. So then within seconds, you will get the output. So API test automation requires less code, so it can provide better and faster test coverage compared to GUI. So that's why first always prefer API testing API testing, so that the test execution will reduce. Execution time will reduce for you. You don't need more time. But GUI testing, definitely it will take time. We have seen yesterday also. How much time it is taking, we have seen that. That's one problem. So in API testing, data is exchanged using XML or JSON. So API testing, data is exchanged using XML or JSON. So these transfer modes are completely language independent, okay? So this JSON and XML are language independent. You can use with any programming language, this JSON. JSON means a JavaScript object notation. It's just a key value format. All objects, JSON objects will be there. Even arrays also will, JSON arrays will be there. JSON array inside you have each object, separate elements will be there. So we'll see that complex structure of JSON also. And what is the difference between API testing and unit testing? API testing is performed by QA team. Unit testing is performed by development team. So API testing is a black box testing. Unit testing is a white box testing. And API testing is mainly to assess the functionality of the code. So what the developers are writing, that code will be so assessed. And you don't need a front end. Okay, that's the API main objective. So unit testing is mainly every function they will test it. Every unit they will test. So in the isolation format, they will test it. And API testing run after the build is ready for testing. So you cannot test after unit testing only, you can start your API testing. Okay. So you don't have access to source code here in the API testing time. So they will give some URLs. For every operation, one URL will be there. For getting the data, one URL will be there. For creating the data, one URL will be there. For updating the data, one URL will be there. For deleting the data, one URL will be there. So like that, so many operations purpose, they will provide URLs. So those are called service URLs or service endpoint, we call that. So that endpoint URLs will be provided to us, and you will hit that endpoint URLs, you will get the output quickly. So that is the main concept. And unit testing, mainly they will write on the source code only. So that's the difference between API testing and this one. And features of web services are interoperability. So reuse already developed functionality into new software. I just told you, bank software is included in the different e-commerce websites and so many other places. So loosely coupled, you can easily integrate with any other softwares. And extensibility, you can extend, you can add multiple softwares also to the applications. That's all with the web services. All these features will be possible. There are two types of web services. We have SOAP, RESTful web services. So, but we are going to discuss mostly on the RESTful only. I'll just give a brief introduction about SOAP, what is SOAP, but we are not going to discuss on that. So we don't need SOAP, very less people uses. And most of the people prefer the RESTful web services only. SOAP stands for Simple Object Access Protocol. That's a SOAP means. So it is a protocol exchange the information using request and response in XML format only over HTTP and SMTP protocols. That is called SOAP. So the communication happens between the two different systems. The request and response will be in the both in XML format only, over the HTTP or SMTP protocols it will use. That's a SOAP. So this is how we will get it, in this format. So this is the client and this is a provider, service provider. So service provider is nothing but who is providing the service. So that's a service provider. So this guy is providing a service. That's why a client is sending the request and he'll get back the response. So what are the different components of a SOAP? We have a simple access object protocol, web services description language, universal description, discover and integration. So these are the components of a SOAP. So what is WSDL? WSDL is another, so one of the component of a SOAP, and it is XML file. Complete logic of a SOAP URL, SOAP web services will be under this WSDL file only. So WSDL file, it will give you what is the URI, so what is the port, what is the method name, which arguments you need to pass, what data type you need to pass, everything will be described in this WSDL file, XML file, WSDL XML file. That's how this SOAP web services will be designed. Then UD. So UD is nothing but universal description, discovery and integration. Basically, you are sending a request, right, in the XML, the WSDL file format. The request will be recorded somewhere. That will be this UD. So basically, all your requests will be registered in the UD and make them available for the discovery and so for the further process. That's what the UD and WSDL components. But don't worry, and how can you do this SOAP testing? You can do with the SOAP UI, UFT, JMeter. Any of these tools you can use to perform the SOAP web services testing. That's enough. You don't need much there. Then what is the RESTful web services? This is very important. So RESTful web services is architectural style, and it is found in the 2000 in medical thesis by Ray Fielding. So he is the one who found this RESTful web services. It is a REST means what? Representational state transfer. So R for representational, E for, so this is automatically coming here. The S means a state transfer. So basically it provides the communication between the client and server again. Client and server using HTTP request. What are the HTTP requests? So these are the things. Get, post, put, delete, patch. There are so many others are there, but mainly these four are enough. What are the HTTP request methods? If anybody asks you, what is the answer you have to give? Get, post, put, delete. So what are the HTTP verb methods or HTTP request methods? Get, post, put, delete. Get means, what is English meaning of get?
Access.
Access, right? To get the data, to give me information. So get method, what it will do? Get method you have to select and give the endpoint URL. So it will retrieve the information from the server to you. So get method, what it will do? It retrieves the information to you, retrieves the resources to you. That's a get method. Post, you want to create, you will use a post method. You want to create an account, you want to post a tweet, you want to post a video. All this can be done with a post method. So post method, when you use, you want to create a resource in the server, then you will use a post method. When you will use a post method, whenever you want to create a resource in the server, like example is creating a account, creating a user, creating a tweet, and uploading a file. These are all examples for post method. So get method means just the user info. Get the information of particular user. So any information you are getting, that's a get call. Put, U for update. See, in the meaning itself is there. put, update it. So just remember this blind, some hard-coded values you need to remember. U for update. So put means used for updating the resource in the server. Already resource exists in the server. That resource you want to modify. Suppose you take an example of Aadhaar card. There is some already Aadhaar card exists, but there is a typo in the surname or mobile number, something. You want to update it. So which one is going to do? The put call. Put, for put call, what you need to give? There are so many Aadhaar cards, numbers, right? But which Aadhaar card? You will give a Aadhaar card number. Unique ID you have to give. So it will go and update that Aadhaar card only. Clear? Is it a best example or still you want anything?
No, clear.
We are good.
So that is the put is for anything you want to update. Already resource is there in the server. You want to update. The existing resource you want to modify. That time you have to call put method. Delete. The resource you want to delete it from the server. You don't want that resource anymore in the server. Then you will call delete method. So are you all clear on these 4 methods? I will ask each and every person these 4 methods. If anybody not clear, let me know. I'll explain again.
Can you explain post method, sir?
You want to create an account. So you are going for a Facebook, madam. Your first time you are using Facebook. First,
Okay.
what you will do first?
First, I create a credential, username and password.
You will create an account, right?
Yeah, account. Yeah.
You don't have a Gmail account. What you will do first?
First, I create a account, Gmail account.
Account. What you will give in the account creation? You will give your username, password, details.
Confirm password.
All this you will give, right? That means
Yeah.
you are inputting data.
Yeah.
Same for the post method also, you have to input the data.
Okay.
So just creating the accounts or creating a resource. That purpose you will use a post method. You are uploading a video to YouTube, madam. That's also
Okay.
post call. So you are using a tweet or Instagram. You are uploading a video or you creating a tweet.
Okay.
Creating a tweet is a post method.
Okay, sir. Clear.
So that's the post. Somebody dropped, so I'm going to ask. So let's see, countdown started. Now I want to see how many will drop. So if you want anything, let me know. I'll explain again and again if you are not clear, but I need to get it back. So shall we start? These are very important points. In the interview point of view also, if you're good with these 4 methods, you're done. If you understand these 4 methods. Okay. So shall we start? What is mean by get, post, put? All this? It is all same. I don't want to explain much here. Okay. So then what is the difference between SOAP and REST web services? SOAP is a XML based message protocol and REST is architectural style protocol. SOAP uses a WSDL to communicate between a consumer and provider, and REST uses XML or JSON to send or receive data. SOAP calls RPC method to invoke services, and REST calls via URL path. So I told you service URL. Service URL, every call, one service URL will be there. SOAP result is not human readable format. REST is more readable format. It's in plain XML or JSON or HTML text format also you can get it. That's a REST. SOAP transfers over HTTP and other protocols like SMTP and FTP also. But REST transfers over HTTP only. SOAP JavaScript can call SOAP, however, it is difficult to implement that. JavaScript also can implement the SOAP. But the REST can call from JavaScript also. Even Python also, people are developing REST APIs. JavaScript also you can use, develop the APIs. JavaScript is not only for the front end, even in back end also it is there. So performance is minimal as compared to REST. Performance is better than SOAP. Okay, so that's a main difference. This is another interview question. Okay, let's move on now. So I want to give a clarity on the microservice and monolithic architecture. Let me give you. So monolithic architecture means everything you have here. So this is the application server and this is the database server. Everything you have here on. It's in the one container. This is called monolithic. Okay. So monolithic applications. Now you can assume that all are in one container only. So what will happen if all are in one container? Tomorrow change happen in one place, everything again you have to test, right? If deployment happens, everything you have to test again, right? So much complexity. And also performance will degrade. So a lot of effort required. Efficiency will go down. Application efficiency will go down. And every change you have to do regression testing. So that's a overburden to all the people. So that's why now this one is breakdown into microservices. Now people are moving towards microservices. So a microservice is nothing but every service will be one working software. So this is all independent. That's one microservices, this another microservices, this another microservices. So you have all again. So you have here independent, but as lightweight, very lightweight. So you are not going to put everything. So how you will communicate with this? This code is different again. This code is different again. You don't need to put this code here and this code here. Just you will send and communicate with APIs. That's it. So you will use APIs to communicate between two different systems. So this is called microservice. See, tomorrow change happened in this module, okay, in this service. Suppose service 2. So this is service 1. So this is service 2, service 3. If tomorrow change happened in service 2, you don't need to test S1 and S3. You can test only S2. So deployment also. So some change happened, you want to deploy. New features are coming, you want to deploy here. Only you will deploy S2 related features here only. You don't need to deploy here and here. See how easy the microservice architecture if you follow. So one is more effective and efficiency will be increased and lightweight. And also if some change happens in one microservice, you don't need to test other microservices. If you are doing a deployment in one microservice, you don't need to do testing other microservices. Only test only microservice 2 only. Testing is easy. And so you can do very lightweight and easy deployments. Whenever you want, you can do deployments. So all this is the microservice architecture now, everybody following that. So now if you see, I don't know if you go to any hospitality portals like Make My Trip or anything you go, You can see there is a hotel service will be there, and flights booking will be there, and some other services also they are providing. How there this many services they are doing in the one website? This is all, but again that is a different, right? See, flights are different. Different service providers have their flights. Right? How they will interact with the different flights is all showing in one platform. Through microservices. You will give the input. So you will give the input, okay, which day source and destination, then date. To which date you are planning, and how many resources, how many adults and kids, and you will give this data. This data you will front end you will enter. So front end you will enter, the front end guy will give it to backend developer. The backend developer will convert that into JSON or XML, any format, that will send it to server. So your endpoint will accept only JSON. The backend developer will convert that into internally into JSON format. Then, so process will happen and you will get back. Then front-end developer will take that response. He will give in the JSON format, but the front-end developer cannot show in the JSON format. He will convert that into normal format, and the UI display, it will show proper readable format. This is the how front-end developer and back-end developer, so both will work so very together. So front-end developer, if you want to finish his work, first back-end developer has to complete his task. Without back-end code, front-end developer cannot do anything. Because everything data you will back-end developer only will give the data to front-end guy. That's why first back-end will be developed nowadays. That's the microservices concept. Back-end will be developed first, then slowly UI will be picked up on top of that. So that is the microservices architecture nowadays is going on. Are you all clear on microservice and monolithic architecture?
Yes, Ramesh.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any questions before jumping on? Let's move on. Okay. So what is this REST architecture? What components will be there? Okay. So, okay, your request, what will be there in the request? So what are all things will be there in your request? Right? So your request have HTTP verb methods. What are the HTTP verb methods?
Get,
Put, post,
Get,
post,
post,
delete, delete.
Delete. So that is the first point you will select in your request part. And then second part, service URL. So that is URI or URL we call that. URI is Unified Resource Identifier. Unified Resource Identifier. So that means the resource in the server, right? How we will identify that resource? That resource identifier, the URL will be there. And then the version of HTTP, always 1.1, headers, request headers. Okay, how you are sending this? What is the host name? So, and what is the body you are giving? So empty body for get method. For a post method, body is not empty. Remember, for a get method, you don't need to give body. You don't need to give any
We are
input.
retrieve.
So you're retrieving the data. So you don't need to give any input. For a post method, you have to give a body input. Body, request body, you have to give. What is your username? What is the first name? What is the last name? What is the username, password, phone number? All this data key value format you will give. In the JSON format or XML format, any format you will send it. So that is the request body preparation. So once you send the request, you will get the HTTP response. The response can be, so based on your request, output you will get. The output is the HTTP response. HTTP request means the input, what you are giving. That's a HTTP request. Response means, okay, after processing by the server, you will get output. That output is called HTTP response. So are you all clear on the HTTP request and HTTP response?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
So
So-
explain once again.
So request means you are giving an input, madam. What you are giving input to the server.
Okay.
So that is a request. So suppose you are calling a friend. How you will do? What if you want to call? What you need? If you want to call a friend,
Phone number.
right? That is the input or not?
Yes.
That's the request. You are giving a request.
Okay.
So you are creating account. What you will give? You will give a data, right? What data
Yes.
you want to create? That's a request. So that you put in the body, but you want to create, where you want to create? Facebook, Twitter account, Gmail account. You will tell, right? Which
Yes.
URL you are creating. That is what you will give in the URL.
Okay.
In the method, you will select a post method. If it is a create.
Okay.
If it is a create, you will select a post method. If it
Okay.
is a update, you will select a put method.
Good.
If it is a delete, you are deleting a resource, so you will select a delete method.
Okay.
So that's the request part. Once you requested with the data, with the methods, everything, and you will get output. So that output, you have HTTP response, we call that.
Okay, sir.
Okay, that output is a HTTP response. The input to the server is a HTTP request. So the output after the server process and giving output to you, that is HTTP response.
Okay.
For response, how do you know it is a successful or it is a client side errors, it is a server side errors? How do you know? For that, they are giving some codes. Those are called HTTP status codes, we call them. Okay, if it is a successful 200 series number. Yeah. If your request is successful and it is returned successfully to you, then what is the codes? They have given us some codes, that is 200 series. So your request is successful. What is the codes you need to consider? 200 series.
200 series.
So if the request is not processed in there is a client side itself errors are there, then that is a client side errors will be treated with a 400 series. The request is went to the server, but server is not processed. Then server side errors you will specify with the 500 series numbers. So what are all the three series? 200 series.
200.
Successful.
400.
Number error 400.
400 for client side errors.
500.
500 for server side errors.
Server side errors.
So all three are clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
200 for successful. 400 for client side
Client
errors.
side error.
500 for
Server side error.
server side errors. So then let me give you in detail in this HTTP request, what are all will be there. I'm going in detail. See, so client and server. So you are sending the request. See, REST API endpoint URL plus API method plus parameters. So I'm this URL I'm detailedly giving here. So endpoint URL plus method name plus parameters. What parameters? If there are parameters that you are sending to the server. So then you will get a response back. But there is the example is there. You can see that. So endpoint URL means this HTTPS. You will give always, you have to start with HTTP or HTTPS. your request URL. So starts with HTTPS or HTTP :/API.flickr.com. This is the host name or server name, this one. After that, services /rest ? Method equal to flickr.photos.getInfo and photo ID, this one. So these are the parameters. The method name is getInfo method. GetInfo is the method name. So you're telling get the info for this photo ID. You're telling. So this ID where you got, sir? This ID will be there for this photo in the server. Every photo has one ID in the server. So which photo ID, photo details you want, you have to give that photo ID name, ID number. Suppose your multiple users are there. Particular user details, if you want to see, you will give that user ID, right? So same way here, you are giving a particular photo ID. If you give that photo ID details, you will get it. So that data response you will get back either in the REST, XML, SOAP, JSON, or different formats. So you will get back to your client machine. So the request, it will go to server, response will get back to the client. So this is the how REST API will be given. And in detail, we are going again detailed. So HTTPS, what we call this? Protocol. Clevertechie.com, what you call this? Say host, server name. So like your google.com, right? Google.com is the server name. That's a server name, Google server name. Here, Clevertechie server name is this one. Then this is the resource. After server, whatever that is the resource and method names will be. Resource means the main item that you are creating in the server. So this is the one of the lily.jpg is the one resource in the server with this name. In the flowers, so image flowers, which flower? I want lily flower. So that clearly I'm telling the particular resource name I'm giving. So this is the server name / method name and the resource name you can give. And you can get the response back. And still, you can see that. Verb method first you have to select plus URL, unified resource locator you have to give. So what are the verb methods? Get to, post to, put to, delete. So what request you are sending? Get request, post request, put request, delete request. What request you are sending to the server? That you have to tell. That's what these methods first you will select. Then you will get back the response. Okay. So what is URI? This is a very important. They are asking in the interviews. So URI stands for Uniform Resource Identifier. Is a sequence of characters that identifies a web resource by location, by name, or both in the World Wide Web. So it is a method that allows for the uniform identification of resources that are available in the server. So suppose, see here, mail to, this is the @example.com. So news, comp.infosystems. This one. So URN, this one. So here URN is this one. So ISBN, whatever it is. This is a unique queue number to recognize that resource. So that's the basically particular number for that resource in the server. So that is the URI. So what is URL? URL means, so uniform resource locator, a sequence of characters that identifies the network location of the resource. So where it is available. So this is available where. So this is the entire thing is called URL. Okay. So that's the difference between URL and URI. So URI is a resource identifier. URL is a resource locator. Superset of URI, and URL is a type of URI, and So it is often utilized in XML and tag library files such as JSLT, XSLT to identify the resource. So basically, the resources will be given in the XML format or JSON format with some name, number, or whatever you will give. That's the one. So this is often used with web pages. URLs will be with web pages. To find the web pages, particular web page, you will use URLs. So URL's main primary purpose is to identify a resource. So many resources will be there in the server. How you can identify by name, by location, by or both, right? Or by ID. Anyway, you can identify that resource with any of the name, ID, or anything. So the primary goal is to get the address or location of the resource. That's a URL main purpose. And that's it. You don't need much here. And resource means, again, if anybody asks you, just go through the physical virtual component, which is there in the server. And this we already discussed this. So we should know in this out of 4 methods, which is idempotent. What is meant by idempotent? First understand. So idempotent is nothing but if you send a multiple times a request, multiple successful request, the state of the resource is not going to change. That is called idempotent. Okay, that is called idempotent. So now you can see get to, put to, delete to. All these 3 are idempotent methods. Post is not idempotent. Why post is not idempotent means every time you send a new resource will create. But every time you are requesting data, same data you will get it. Every time you are updating the same data, it won't change. Status won't change. Same will be updated. If you delete the resource, it will keep deleting the same resource only. Second time, if you try and it will say resource is not found. But if you call the get method on the deleted resource, you will get a resource not found. But you are deleting the same resource, it will keep deleting, but nothing. There is no change on that resource. So that's why these 3 are the idempotent methods. And this is not a idempotent method. So the examples I have given, please go through the examples I have very clearly given. If you want more clarity, you just go through that. So this is the one. Let's see. So the URL payload, when you can give post method /API/inventory item. So create an inventory item component. So you can use a payload. You have to give a payload for the post method always. If you want to create an inventory item, you need to give a payload. So basically what it will create a new inventory in the server. Get. So /API/inventory item. You are getting the inventory item so that are available all inventory items. It will return all the items. Inventory items all will be returned to you by get method. Put. So you just see inventory item curly brackets ID. This is the resource ID you are giving. So this, which inventory item you are modifying, particular number you are mentioning. So only that ID you can modify, renames an item. So delete, it will delete the inventory item. So like that you can just understand that. That's it. And this is the very, very important interview question. So what is the difference between path parameters and query parameters? And provide with examples. So, and please understand and read more number of times this path parameters and query parameters. So let me show you on Gmail also. Let me open Google. I'll open Google. So now this is the get call. How do you know, sir, this is get call? Go to the inspect network tab. Go to network tab here. So you reload it. So it is loaded automatically. So I will clear first. See, this is the one. www.google.com. See, request URL http google.com, request method get method, status code is 200. 200 means what?
Successful.
Successful.
It is loaded for you. That's why you are getting a status code 200. So where you can see that response code, you can see here, response code. These are all the response code. So in the HTML format, it is there. Okay. So timing and all these things, you can see that. So this is the request and you can see response headers. So these are all response headers. So this is the response. First one is the request. Okay. So this is the request URL. See, it starts with HTTPS and this is the get call. It's just you are requesting. See, now I am doing. Okay. Can you observe here? So URL, please observe the URL. What happened here? Question mark, Q. So whatever the input you have given, question mark Q after it came here. This is called query parameters. So the question mark is there. The question mark after the parameter name equal to parameter value. So that is called query parameters. The endpoint URL is added a question mark, then parameter equal to parameter value. That is called query parameter. Here Q is the query parameter. So Q is the query parameter. See here. So this Q is the query parameter. A question mark after whatever is there, that is called query parameter. So that's what I'm telling here. So what is path parameter? First understand query parameters. But we have seen a query parameters, right? Let's understand. They are used to provide additional information or to filter the results of a resource collection. I'm filtering. The question mark Q equal to selenium. Give me search results for selenium, I'm saying. I'm filtering. So that's called query parameters. You are querying, you are searching. That is called query parameters. So it is adding in the line itself, here itself. In the URL, this is the endpoint URL. The endpoint URL itself, it is adding. So this is called query parameters. For example, in a RESTful API, you might use a query parameter to specify the number of results to return, like /users, question mark, limit equal to 10. So here limit is the query parameter. See, after question mark, whatever the keyword is there, that is called query parameter. Clear? Clear or no?
Clear, sir.
Okay. So what is path parameters? Path parameters means they are used to identify a specific resource within a collection of resources. So for example, in RESTful API, you might use path parameters to specify the unique queue identifier. So I have shown you here, right? Okay, here it is there already coming here. /users, / in the URL itself, you are writing in the curly bracket, the parameter name, input parameter. So this is called path parameter. The users / curly bracket inside, the parameter name will be there. That is called path parameters. In the URL path itself, you have a parameter. So where ID is the path parameter that represents the unique queue identifier of the user. Is this clear for between the path parameters and query parameters?
Can
Yes.
you repeat
Yes.
path parameters one more time, Ramesh?
So path parameters means in the URL itself, you are giving an input in the curly bracket inside. That is called path parameters. So, okay, users, your users means so many users, right? Which user? That you are specifying here with a curly bracket. That is called path parameter. Particular ID, suppose here also. Inventory items, so many are there. Which inventory item? You are giving that inventory item. So that is called this ID in the curly bracket. That is called path parameters. Very clear?
Yeah. Yes.
So path parameter example, users / I in the curly bracket ID returns the details of a specific user with the given ID. Only this ID related user details only you will get it. So post ID comments means particular post, every post has a one ID. Particular ID will be there. So many posts you can create in the Facebook or in the tweet. Which post you want to represent? So that post has a some ID. When you create a post, that post has a ID. ID will be created in the server. So that ID you take and comments. Okay, for this post, how many comments are there? You can get it. So returns a comments for a specific post with a given ID. You want a number of comments for a particular post. So how can you get that? So you give the ID of that post. There are so many posts you have, madam, but how many views you want to know? How can you get them? Right? Particular video. So even if you go to our YouTube channel, so I'm telling how many views I want to know for my video. See, here there are views or a number of subscribers. You want to get them. So how can you get that? So that you are going to give the ID, particular ID you are going to give. So here also V is the query parameter here. Watch. So this video, that resource you are watching. And here also how many people viewed also you can find out. So number of viewers you can find out. So this is the 3 people viewed this and 3 people liked that. And how many likes also you can get particular post. And views somewhere I saw, you can get that. Let me go back. I'll show you. So basically, the frame is see here, you're getting views, right? This number of views you want for this particular video. So this has one ID for this. I posted. Posted means I created that. Created means one ID will generate. That ID, how many views are there, you can get it. How many comments are there, you can get. How many likes are there, you can get it. So this is the number of views, number of comments, number of likes you want, you can get that. So with this side, particular video, that's the how you can. Here also you can get the number of comments, number of views, number of likes. So by giving, this is called path parameter. So query parameter means users ? limit equal to 10. So here limit is the query parameter. So /post ? category equal to news and sort equal to descending order. Here category and sort are the query parameters. So news is just a resource, a type. The category is the query parameter. Okay, so that's all about query parameters and path parameters. Any questions before going, and how can you do this API testing? I'll show you now, because you want to take a break and we'll come 5 minutes break.
Ramesh, I have one quick question here.
Yeah.
Like in the path parameter, what the ID we are giving, so can we give that ID in get method also?
That's what I'm not saying the IDs can be only for post, only for put. I'm not telling, right? Any method you can get method only you will use, right? You want what you want to do here. You will use for get method only this one. Or put method, you want to modify this. Only this ID you want to modify. You will use a put method. You want to get this ID details. You will use get method. Got it?
Yeah.
That based on it, but you cannot use for post, right?
Yeah. So this is inside the get method only we are giving the parameter, right?
Not inside the get method, the URL. URL.
The URL, right? Okay.
Method name, then this URL. This is the URL. URL itself, you will give this. That, but ID you will replace. This is the generic, but this ID you will replace. ID 2, ID 3 will be there, right? Every user has one ID. That user ID you will give.
Okay. Thank you, Ramesh.
Yeah. Any other questions? So take a break. And after this break, we are going to start the installation of. So go to.
Host
Yeah,
is,
share your screen.
should, it shows host is disabled participant screen sharing.
Yeah, no, I have given. So everybody go to Google, okay, and give this URL, Neela, on the top, the URL you copy and paste in the chat. Postman.com download. The URL copy and paste in the chat for everyone, okay? So where is a Zoom chat? Go to Zoom chat and paste that. Okay. So everybody launched. And you can see Windows people, Windows 64-bit. So you have to click on this to download that. So click Windows 64 download. So anybody having a Mac? Mac also, it is there below. You can see Mac also. So not your OS, download Mac here. Okay. So anybody using Mac, you can use that. Here only it is there. Okay. Just below that only you have not your OS, download for Mac here. Or Linux, this one. Okay, and it is downloading in the left part. So you open that arrow mark, you click Neela, the exe after arrow mark is there. Open, click on open. After downloading, you click on that open or open when done, anything. Then it will open to you. So please install that. So it will open for you. Installation. It is completed installation. You already done installation, I think. So you already done installation. You already previously you have the installation. That's why.
But I downloaded in that Mac only, sir. I'm not downloading here.
Okay. So then installation not required. Then go to create account. Click on create account.
Already I have one also that created account. I use it or I can.
Yeah, you
create
can use it or you can create account. Anyone is fine. Use whatever you have if you have already existing.
Okay, sir.
Use your Google or whatever it is. That is creating a account again. So you want to create account or your so you will sign up with the Google. So whatever you want, you can do that. Generally, you continue with the sign up with the Google. Okay, so it will be done along with your account already. If you logged in, it will be continued. Better use sign up with the Google. So you remember the password?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, do that.
So Ramesh, we can use Postman without a login also, right?
Yeah, without login also you can use. You can do without login also. But you are using this one, like you are using a browser or independent software. You can use independent software.
Oh, okay.
So like this, you can let me show you. But why you are not getting that? See, if you install, you will get this is the app. You will get an app here.
I get it down, sir. That like.
So you have to click on this app. Okay, so once you have app, it will open like this. It's an independent app. It's not a browser. Okay. So you'll get an app like this.
Yes, sir. 1 second.
You'll get an app like this. Any other can you share? And I want to see installation. So independent app, that one. Okay,
I'll do it.
Create
Yeah.
an.
share.
Can I close that browser one, sir?
Yeah, browser one, you close it. You don't need a browser one. This is the independent. Yeah, this is the independent for it. Yeah, this is what independent. Okay. So left part, you enable the left one. Left. See, there is a collections. Left side, you are seeing icons, right? Look for collections, APIs, collections. You have to select collections.
Mhm.
Collections, madam. Just above that, you're not able to see.
The first one is collections, yeah.
That's the collections. Okay, keep it. So and then you can create a new collection. So this is the UI you will see once you download and install. You launch the Postman. You don't need to create account also. You can directly open like this. As Vijay asked, right? Without so creating account also you can open. See, she didn't even sign in. So no need of signing. So you will get a home workspace explorer. Once you install, you will get like this. So, and then here you have all the HTTP work methods we have seen: get, post, put, patch, delete. So get always retrieves the data, post, create the data, put, update the resource, patch also for update purpose, delete for deleting purpose. And yeah,
It is asking the roles. Do we need to give the roles? Is anything differs?
rows are.
Roles?
Can you share your screen?
Yeah, sure.
You don't need anything, just you can install. So stop sharing, Neil.
Yeah, I just stopped.
Okay,
So,
Shukriya, you shared. Okay,
can you able to see my screen?
now.
Okay, 1 second.
Having, please ask and complete this. This is the task, very, 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 very important. Okay, and give, so open the drop down. What is your role? QA engineer. Come down. Scope slowly, there is a QA engineer will be there, or anything you select. A quality engineer, there is the quality engineer, right?
Yeah, okay.
That's it.
Mm.
Open that. This is the one you already. Okay, so you're good now. So you have see open workspace and everything. So anybody else need help?
Can I share my screen? It shows like create an account.
Hmm.
It's showing same, sir.
What same, sir? You open, madam. You share your screen.
1 second.
Same means I don't understand that. What is
Yeah.
mean by
1 second, sir.
Arvinda, Pushpa, Bhavana, are you done? I'm going to come one by one, okay?
So here is
Madam,
the
this is you're going for the browser.
yes,
should
sir.
not-
Is here. I will click the Postman app is here.
Close
I click-
this. Close. This is the one you need to come.
Yeah.
So you don't need to even click on create account. Okay.
Yes. But it taking.
So if your browser isn't open Postman for you to sign in, open it manually. Create account via browser. You don't need that.
Ramesh, at the bottom, skip and take me to the
Yeah.
Postman.
Yeah, there is a skip and take me to Postman desktop app. Click on that. Yeah. So that is not visible at all. You should have no. But why you're getting again this one?
Don't set-
Skip, go to app. Yeah. Now you're right. You reached this app.
Okay.
So now you can create, and you can see all the home workspace and everything. We'll create a collection. Slowly we'll create a collection. Just hold on. This is the app. So you have a skip option will be there. Don't create any account. Just skip it and continue. Okay. And once app is opened, you can. So we can create a first collection. The collection is nothing but a group of requests will be there in the collection. That's a collection means. So a collection contains many requests. So each request you will give a proper name. So that names is important. Okay. So now let's see how many of you completed this. How many of you are all completed? All are in this window.
Completed, sir.
Yeah, completed, Ramesh.
Yeah, I have come.
Completed.
Ramesh.
So for me, it is asking what is your role?
Just now I told now, madam, select any role, madam.
Okay,
What you are doing? What is your role now? You are a quality engineer, right?
okay, sir.
Select the quality engineer role. Just now I told for Manju also, right? Same thing. Any other spending?
Yes, sir.
Where are you?
After downloading app will not open, sir.
Share your screen, madam. So we need to create a first collection. So to create a collection, you can use new icon, this button or this plus icon. Anyone is fine. So click on new and you can see a lot of options you are getting. So use collection. So we have option here, collection, because we want to create a collection. So click on collection, select the collection and you can give collection name here. So first we are practicing Postman APIs. Postman APIs we are practicing. So write Postman API collection. So you can give a date also, February 13th, 2023. So we'll know exactly when we started this. So then save it, press enter key. See, with that, in the left part, the collection name is created here. Can you see here? Postman API collection Feb 13, 2023. So star mark. You click on star mark, it will go up. Basically, it will go up. Okay, so where is mine? I'll click a Postman. So it came here. That means I am bookmarking that. That's it. Can you expand this after creating this? This arrow mark, you click it. So this arrow mark will be there, right? Just name before arrow mark will be there. Just click on that. Then this collection is empty. No request is here. So we need to add a request. So to add a request, either you can click on these 3 dots or you can click on add request here. So anything works fine. So click on 3 dots. See, you have a lot of options. You can share this collection with some other team member. You can move this to some other. You can run this collection. You can edit this collection. You can add a request, or you can create a folder structure also. So a lot of options you can do. You can rename this collection name. You went wrong. You can rename it. You can delete this collection. You can export this. So you can delete entirely. So a lot of options are there you can use when you click on 3 dots. So I want to create a new request. Click on add request. Or otherwise I'll just create a folder first. Let's create a folder. I'll create a folder. Add folder. So the folder name I need to give. What is the folder name I'm going to give is rename it. So rename the folder name. So I'm giving unauthorized is it request. That's my folder I created. So this folder inside I have to add the request. So now I'm going to add a request for this folder. So I'll add request. See, when you click on add request, unauthorized unauthorized 401 request. That's it. So then save it. Press enter key. See, you will get here under this folder unauthorized 401 request. So then the folder below the request is created. Request, see, with a method, the request name, but where is the URL? We have to give the URL. Now see, collection name, folder name, then request name. So otherwise, if collection below directly you can give request, but I am segregating all of them. Okay, I'm just segregating them with a folder, neatly arranging them. So that's why folders I am creating. So now this get method, I have to give the get method. So have you all completed in this part, all three? Create a collection, create a folder for that collection, collection below. See, the arrow marks is the hierarchy is moving down, not in the same line, right? So collection below folder, folder below request. So one folder below you can add multiple requests. So I want to create this request. For this, what is this unauthorized request? So we need to understand all this, right? First of all, we need to understand, sir, which APIs I need to test. How do I know? So there is a documentation for whatever the developer developed the APIs. You have a clear-cut idea and the documentation will be there. So there are so many documentations for the inside the company. Swagger document will be there. So in the Swagger document, they'll put all the APIs. So whatever they developed with a method name, that HTTP verb method name, what is the request URL format, then what is the request headers. See, request headers means these are all. See, can you see here? This is the request URL, this part. This part is a request URL. Then the query parameters. This is the query parameters. Can you see here? The params. Params below you can see query parameters. Then authorization. Then headers. Key value format. Key value format. Body. So the body is a none or raw format, binary format. So whatever URL encoded format, whichever format you want, you can give. So now I'm selecting my get call. Always remember, no request body. So get call doesn't have any request body. Please keep this point in mind. Get URL is not going to have any request body. You're not going to give any data, input data for the request URL. So pre-request script will write and test. This is the where you will do a validations. Okay, you're doing a testing, right? Testing means what? You have to validate. How you can validate? The validations you can add here. What are the validations you will add? So a request is successful or not, request is client-side error or not, request is server-side error. How can you validate that? Your request is successful is 200 you are getting. The 200 you validate here. The test case you add here. So when you select this test tab, you have a ready-made code snippets. So get an environment variable, get a global variable, all this. Can you see here? This is the ready-made code. Status code is 200. And request body contains this string, request body JSON value check, response body, sorry, these are all response bodies. Response body is equal to a particular string. The response headers, content type header check, response time is less than 200 milliseconds. So our status code is successful. Post request, status code name has a string. Like this, all the ready-made code snippets are there. You don't need to do anything. Just click on that, code will add automatically. So suppose I want to add status code is 200. See, the code is automatically generated. I just clicked on this. Status code is 200 under test tab, request test tab. This is. And PM.test. PM is Postman. This is the Postman is a tool. where you can test your APIs. Manual testing you can do in the Postman. Postman is a tool. It's an app application. It's an app. So desktop app. So desktop application, you can use this to test your APIs manually. That is the purpose of Postman. Where you will test APIs, if anybody asks you, you can say, I'm using Postman to test APIs. And PM is Postman test. Test is the method name, status code. But what status code we are verifying? 401. So status code is 401. 401. Right, 401. 401. I want to validate. I'm expecting PM dot response dot to have status 401. Just write 401. 401. So this is the first test case you can add. This is the one of the test case status code validation. So if anybody asks in the API testing, what you will validate? First test case, what you can tell? Validating the response status code. Response status code is the first test case you can add. So PM.response means this response body, whatever you're going to get here, right? That's a response body data. So that means I'm saying response to have a status 401, I'm saying. Okay, that's the first test case. So I'll write a meaningful, you write your meaningful statements. Unauthorized status code. Unauthorized status code is 401. So meaningful name I am giving. And the test case, this message you will get in the result. So then give the URL. So where are these URLs? So
Sir, one question.
Yeah.
After creating that new request, unauthorized 401 request, do we need to click on something because I'm not seeing the get and the URL?
You click on that, okay? So you selected this folder, right? Folder inside you have a add request.
Yes, I did that.
So add request after you will enter the name, right? For this.
Yeah.
Then
enter
you
the name.
Enter the name and you click this name you click.
Yeah, I clicked, but I'm not seeing the params. I'm seeing only authorization, pre-request script and the test.
You should get that params also. Can you share your screen?
Okay.
Without giving a token, if you submit, it will throw 401 unauthorized status code. Okay. When you get a 401 unauthorized, your request demands a authorization, basically authorization. Like you have to give a token ID, or you have to give a username password, you have to give a OAuth token or bearer token. Any of the tokens you have to give. Tokens is nothing but those are encrypted format, okay? Those are, nobody understands them. So our password, if you type, you will understand, right? But what these tokens will do, they will encrypt. And nobody can understand that. What is that also? That is the tokens. You will send that tokens to the server. How your request is valid or not, genuine or not, how you can authenticate it. How server will authenticate based on these tokens only. Clear? If you are not giving that token and you are sending that request to the server will, or client itself will throw 401 unauthorized. It won't go to even server also. The client side itself, it will check, right? First checkpoint will happen, right? Client side. Client itself say, okay, no, this request requires authentication, authorization. You didn't give. So that will say, okay, 401 unauthorized. All 400 series, client side itself, it will throw. That's a 401 unauthorized means. So everybody clear on that when you will get a 401 unauthorized.
Yes, Ramesh.
Ramesh, like we didn't give any request, right? Like why are
Request
we
I'm going to request we are going to give. Request we are going to give. I'm saying
Okay.
you have given a method, get method you selected, request URL you have given, but you forget to give token. Then you hit the send button. There is a send button, right?
Mhm.
You hit the send button. Then there is the send button. Send button means you are sending the request to the server. That let's go and give this URL. Let's go and give this URL quickly and we'll see that what we are going to get. Okay. So where is that? So all can you go to our blog, and I have given very clearly the API documentation. API documentation is there. See, API documentation. Okay, so go and open this URL. Maybe it might ask you to register, but this is the web application URL, right? Go and open this URL in the browser.
Can you please put that in chat, Ramesh, if you don't?
Yeah. Take it.
Thank
Okay. See, this is the Postman API. So all the APIs they have given here. So this is saying very clear, the Postman API lets you to programmatically access data stored in your Postman account. So you can get started with the Postman API by forking the Postman, but not necessary. But see that you must use a valid API key to send a request to the API endpoints. You can get your API key from Postman. Here you can get it, but I am not giving now. I'm not giving actually. See, the first request I'll send without this. See, this is the create a collection, but I will send a get call. Select any URL. This is the create a fork, and then I'll give get a collection. So I'll give this URL. So not single collection. I want multiple collections. Update collection. Merge a fork. See, get all collections. Can you see get all collections? This URL you take. This is the endpoint here. This is you have a documentation. The method name is a get method. The request name is a get all collections. This URL will get all the collections in the server. So take this URL. Take this URL and go and paste in the get after there is a enter request URL. So that one. Okay. Paste that. Then see, this is requesting authorization key, but I am not giving. So query parameters it is required, but I am not giving. So I am not giving anything. Just and the headers also, response headers you will get it, but request headers I am not giving anything. So just directly give the URL. And so we added a test case and click on send button. See that 401 unauthorized. This is the response bottom portion. This portion is called response section. So in the response body, see response body, that above top one is a request section. Request section, you need to give a get method, any method name. Now see, these are the methods. HTTP bar methods, then URL, then so authorization you have to give, but I am not giving any authorization. And headers I need to give, but I am not giving headers also. I'm not giving any body also. And I just validated a test case. See, response I got. What is the response? Error is the JSON object. This is the JSON format. In the curly bracket inside, this is the JSON object name. JSON object inside, you have a name field, message field. The name field value is authentication error. Message field value is invalid API key. Every request requires a valid API key to be sent. So this is the main concept. So now you see 401 unauthorized. This is the status codes you will get here. So this is passed. Why it is passed? Because the status code also 401, you are expecting also 401. Both are same. In the PM dot response, you have a 401. That's why you are expecting also 401. Both are passed. So that is the one test case we added. So save it. This is the first test case I want to add. Okay. So I will add headers also. Let's add headers also. What are the headers we will add? Simple headers. Have you completed this process? First, this one.
Yeah, can you wait for a few seconds, please?
Yeah. Just giving the URL and hitting the send button. You are not able to find the URL, what?
Sir, if possible, please post that link in the chat group, sir.
Already in the chat, madam, the URL.
So I will post the get all collections also in the in the chat.
Okay, they want the endpoint URL.
Yeah, I posted.
Yeah, Vandana posted already, Manju also posted. So it's there in the. So, but you have to understand documentation, you have to understand why you are taking this much time to open the documentation. I don't understand. I have given that documentation also, right?
That's done, sir. Yeah.
Documentation is important. You should understand documentation. This is the where the developer will keep all the APIs with a detailed info. He is very clearly saying method name is a get method. He is giving the API what it will do. It will get all the collections and the endpoint URL. Then what you have to give? Request body API key you have to give. Query parameters you can give, but I am not giving those things. But I want to simulate this scenario. 401 unauthorized. This scenario I'm simulating. That's why I'm not giving that. One of the test case I am adding. (401) unauthorized somewhere here. See, authentication. So Postman uses API keys for authentication. The API key tells the API server that the request came from you. Everything that you have access to the Postman is accessible with your API key. That's why you are sending API key. API key is giving permission to you access all the server data. If you are that every key is authenticated. See, authentication error message. If an API key is missing, malformed or invalid, all these three cases you have to test it. Missing. Now we have tested missing. Malformed. That means invalid you give. So that means disorderly you give. And invalid you give. Not a valid one you give. And all three cases you have to test. And you should get a 401 unauthorized response code. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
This is a documentation you have to read. This is a very, very important. First documentation you need to understand. So we didn't give API key. So this is the API key name is X-API key. That we need to provide. We'll give that. Okay. So that next we'll see that. So let's go to everybody completed this test case.
Yes, sir.
Still, I'm not getting only one voice.
Yes, sir. Completed, sir.
Yeah, it's done.
Yes, sir.
Sadhu.
Add the headers. Headers is accept. Accept is the one. And which format I want? Application JSON format. See that? Just type 1 or 2 letters you will get in the panel. Select from there. So key is the accept. Value is the application JSON. Go to the next row. and same you do type content type and value also application JSON. So JSON format, you can send any format, but I am selecting a JSON format.
Okay.
Save it. Save it. So
One
that's
second, Ramesh, like how to edit that?
just click on there. Just click on there. Click. Just click.
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
This one.
Done.
Yes, sir.
So what we are sending in the request body? Method name, HTTP verb method, HTTP URL, headers, and your validations in the test. Test tab, what you will do? Your validations, test cases you will do. But still we haven't done much. Only we did a status code validation. But you have to, in the response body, you have a the JSON object. This is the JSON object name is error. This is the one of the JSON object. This JSON object below you have how many fields? Error, then name one field, message another field. So this entire thing is a JSON response data. So how you can get this JSON response data? Then how you can get this name? How you can get this message value? This value you need to get. How can you get that? This message value you need to get it. How can you get this data? So that we'll see in the coming days. Tomorrow we'll continue with this request. Okay, I'll stop here. So any questions?